Hey Lobos, Ben Johnson here to record this week's High Tech Friday. This week we take a look at a tool called GoFormative, or formative.com for short. It's a tool that's basically going to let you take some of your old paper worksheets and make them interactive, electronic, automatically grading. And so the big advantages are, first, that you're not going to be wasting paper, you're not going to be wasting money at the photocopy machine. You're going to be giving your students immediate feedback. You're going to be getting immediate feedback. And you're just going to be able to make that worksheet interactive and a lot more enjoyable for the students, hopefully. So just to give you a quick look at what it looks like as the students complete these, I just wanted to pull up a sample. So I've got a folder here called Just for Fun, and I just had a few teachers fill this out, and I made a worksheet with just really elementary basic questions, diagramming a paragraph, labeling a map, counting some coins, drawing the hands on a clock, just to give people a sense of what you could do with it, but it's suited for any grade level. Anyways, I can view the responses now as the teacher. And real time, as my students are submitting their work, I can be grading and looking at what's been turned in. And so, for example, I could just go ahead and click on one here, and real time I can give the student a score on this just by moving this button on the scale here. So if they've done a good job, I can give them 10 points. I can give them immediate feedback here. I'm actually watching these come in on my computer live, real time, as the students are completing the work, in this case diagramming a sentence, and then in the same manner I can return their work to them live, give them feedback live. So if they're not understanding the assignment, rather than waiting for it to come in at the end of the period, taking the weekend to grade it, returning it on Monday when the students don't care any longer, I'm giving them that feedback immediately, which is why it's called formative, so that you're giving that formative feedback immediately while they're working the problems, not days later. All right, and then I can just skip through all of the questions. This was a mapping question. Some of the questions will grade themselves automatically, like this money counting one, and some of the other ones, like drawing the hands on the clock, I have to grade those as the teacher. But again, it's all real time. Students are getting this feedback live. I'm finding out as a teacher what they know and don't know immediately. So it's a cool tool. This is kind of the teacher's view of it. Basically, they just go to a class, goformative.com/join, and then they type in this code, and that takes them in as a guest. It works through the Google Classroom also. So if you were doing this with a sub, you would just need to leave the address, goformative.com/join, this code, and they could work on this without any instruction from the sub. All right, but as far as using it from a teacher's perspective, you'll just go to goformative.com, hit the sign in button, sign in with your Google account, and you may have to answer some questions about what grade you teach and that sort of thing. And then eventually you'll get to this screen. You might just go to your classes tab right off the bat and import your classes from the Google Classroom if you'd like to. However, you don't have to do this. If you don't want to, you can just manually add new classes just by naming them yourself. If you've added your classes that you want, and it's how you're going to organize things, then you can go ahead and go to the formatives, and this is actually where you upload your worksheets. GoFormative works best if you have a PDF, a Google Doc, or a Word doc that you upload, and that kind of acts as the background of the assignment where you're adding your questions. You can do it without uploading one of these files, but I think that's really the strength of GoFormative is adding that background. Now, most of you probably already have PDFs, Google Docs, Word docs of worksheets and organizers that you've used in the past, quizzes. You can just go ahead and upload those, but I wanted to just demo really quickly how you might go about making a brand new one if you wanted to when you didn't have anything. So I'm just going to open a new tab in my browser, and I'm just going to do a search for blank Europe map. And then I'll just go to images. A lot of these kinds of things are notorious for having viruses and malware, so I usually try to find a a reputable website like Wikipedia. So here's a blank map of Europe, and at this point I can just right click on it and say open image in a new tab. So any picture or diagram or something that you find that you want to make into a PDF, you just open it in your browser, and then you're just going to do Control P to print it, and you're going to choose a PDF as the destination, and I'll just hit save, and you can just throw that into your desktop or somewhere else where you can find that. Okay. All right, so once you've made the PDF, the Google Doc, or the Word doc, you're ready to go back to GoFormative and add a new formative. If you want to, you can make some folders to keep things nice and organized here. Otherwise, they just show up in alphabetical order. So I'm just going to make a new formative. Think of that as a new worksheet, a new interactive worksheet, and you just want to name it. And I'm just going to call this Europe Map 4. And that's what the students will see when I assign it to them. And then you're going to click on this plus button, and you could immediately add these things, but I like to add the PDF or the Google Doc or the Word doc in the background first. So I'm just going to add that PDF. I'm just going to upload that file, and I think I called it Europe Map. So let's see here. Here's this blank Europe Map PDF. And I could have added that from my Google Drive if I wanted to. And again, it's a PDF, a Word doc, or a Google Doc. GoFormative will convert that PDF into its own format, and it will show you the preview here. Now, in this scenario, I'm going to pretend like I'm going to have a sub that maybe doesn't know anything about this topic, and I want to give the students some instruction, some scaffolding on this worksheet. So the first thing I might do is go find some YouTube videos to put on this worksheet. So I'll just open a new tab, and I'm just going to type in something like YouTube Spain history, and I'll just search for that. And here's all kinds of nice videos that I can embed right on my worksheet to make it interactive. So here's one, the animated history of Spain. I could go ahead and watch this, and if it looks good, I'll just grab the address. So I'm just copying the address right now. And then I just go back to my worksheet, and here I could just click wherever I want. So in this case, I'll click on Spain, and I want to add a video. And so now I'll just paste that video. And now when the students on this worksheet mouse over this letter A, it's going to show them this video of the history of Spain. And so I could repeat that for, all my other countries, France, Germany, UK. I could go ahead and add all these movies that I want the students to see. Now this is totally optional, and so if you don't need to do any scaffolding or instruction on the worksheet, maybe because you're going to do it live in the class, you could skip this step, but I just wanted to show you how, as a teacher, you could go ahead and provide the instruction right within the worksheet if you're flipping your classroom, or you're going to have a sub, or just because a student is going to need to make up some work that you lectured on previously. Okay, and so also I could add my own audio. So maybe I'm a German teacher and I want to record some German. I could add my own German recording here with this audio button. You could embed websites like Quizlets. I could embed a Quizlet right on this worksheet. I can put images on the worksheet, text. You saw the video, the YouTube video. I could put even a whiteboard on this worksheet so that students have a space to work a problem, especially if they've got a 2-in-1 tablet or an iPad or something like that. So anyways, I'll pretend like this particular page is done, and I just wanted the students to watch these movies that I added, or the audio recordings. And so now I can scroll down and I can add a second map, and maybe this is where I'm going to add the question. So again, I'll just grab that PDF. I'll just upload it, the one that I just found. So this first one, they're going to watch the movies, and then the second one, I'm going to ask the questions. And so again, GoFormative is converting that PDF into its own format. So it usually takes just about 20 seconds or so for that to appear. And so on the second map, I'm just going to add the questions. So I might do something like a short answer question, and just say something like, which country is this? And then to add the correct answers so that it's graded automatically, I just type in France. I could add more correct answers, so if I wanted some variation of spellings or that sort of thing, I could change that here. I could allow a partial match. In this case, that doesn't really matter, but I could make it case sensitive. So some nice options here. And then I could just continue to add as many questions as I want. Maybe I want them to label something, so I could just click show your work question and just put label Venice on this map, and then they just use their drawing tools to do that. Other questions, let's see, I could do another question. They have some nice question types like categorize and resequence. So for categorize, I could do something like which countries belong to the EU, and then down here I could list all the countries. So just for the sake of this example, just do France, and then I'll do Switzerland. And then over here, I type the bucket names. So I'll type in EU, and then I'll type in non-EU. Okay, and then so that formative knows how to grade these, I just grab this handle here and I drag France into that box, Switzerland into this box, and so maybe a science teacher will do which animals are reptiles and amphibians. You know, grammar English teacher would say which are nouns, which are verbs, that sort of thing. All right, and then I would just keep adding as many questions as I want, and just to give you an idea of world language teacher might want students to record audio. You just saw categorize. You can have students typing an essay. That doesn't auto-grade, but it does give you a chance to see real time what the student is typing. Math teachers would like graphing. Again, doesn't auto-grade, but you can see what they're doing live and give them feedback. Multiple choice auto-grades, multiple selection auto-grades, numeric auto-grades, resequence auto-grades, and that just puts things in the correct order. Short answer auto-grades. Show your work doesn't. You'll see them doing that real time. And then true false. So you can have as many of these question types as you want. So you would build this out, and it can be, I think, up to 25 pages long, so you could keep adding more and more pages to this if you'd like. All right, and then you'll, when you're finished, just hit assign, and you can assign it to one of the classes that you've made, or even to guess, and then just hit that assign button. And then you can just give this to your sub or write it on your whiteboard with this join code, and then students are ready to go in and begin work on that assignment. And as soon as they begin working, as you go to these questions, you'll see all of the responses, and you can immediately grade those over here with that scale, and then give that live feedback over here also. Now when you're done to enter these into the gradebook, you're just going to go ahead and download the results. So again, I'll just view those responses, and I'll just export those either to a Google Sheet or a spreadsheet, and those will just open up in Excel, and that'll allow you to quickly enter those into your gradebook. So I can just drag that over, and it'll just show you all the scores, at least the ones that I scored. So it's pretty convenient to get those scores entered. The last piece I'll show you is that there is a free account that's limited and a pro account that isn't. And so if you're a teacher in Poudre School District, you can just Google PSD EdTech and go to that PSD EdTech site and just request that upgrade on the Google form here, and just choose formative. Fill out that form. Kevin Murray will send you the pro license. It gives you some functionality that you wouldn't have otherwise. All right, hey, so that's GoFormative. Thanks for watching this week's High Tech Friday. As I've told you in the past, try something at least 3 times before you give up. The first time will almost always be somewhat of a failure. Usually the second time you start getting it figured out, and usually by the third time, if it's going to serve a purpose for you, you'll begin to have those light bulbs come on and see how it might work for you. All right, thanks for watching this week's High Tech Friday.